to topic number 2. And I think this is where things are going to get spicy on this show. Okay, things are going to get spicy. All right, because we are going to talk about no, not you yet. Okay, Mike Brown, we got you, brother. We going to talk about you. Okay, we're not talking about Mike Brown right now. We're going to talk about Joe Burrow. I don't even think I got the flyer for Joe Burrow, so I'm going to exit out of here. Mike Brown, I don't want you to get the wrong impression. Okay, let's talk about Joe Burrow. Does he have a case to be in the MVP race right now? And Zay, the mic is yours.
Joe Burrows is having a fantastic season. You look at his numbers; they're ridiculous. Like 42 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I believe 4,500 passing yards. I could be mistaken. I think it's close to 5,000. He's gonna need a historic last game of the season to get 5,000, but his numbers are so ridiculous. He does have a legit MVP case if the Bengals make the playoffs. This defense is atrocious. They are literally winning games because Joe Burrows is throwing dots all over the field. He is doing an historic quarterback play that we haven't seen in quite some time. And I've been very disgusted with how the quarterbacks have been playing in this NFL outside of probably 4 or 5. But Joe Burrows is putting on a display of what it means to be a quarterback in the NFL today. He is the definition of explosive play. He is the reason NFL ratings are still high when people are watching the Bengals games, because if he's not on that field, they're 0-17. That guy is ridiculous. T. Higgins said he will come back for a fraction of the cost that he could get from anywhere else to play with Cincinnati because Joe Burrows is that dude. It is ridiculous what this team is accomplishing with the lack of defense on that field. Zach Taylor, a lot of people ask for his job. A lot of people say he's on a chopping block, that he's already gone once the season is over. If they make the playoffs, I don't see how the hell you can remove him. I don't know. Zach Taylor knows how to get these guys playing, but it's Joe Burrow's show right now. And I think if they make the playoffs, you might have to give him that MVP. It's not about record. It's not about record. It's not about what Lamar Jackson is doing. It's not that whatever Josh Allen is doing in Buffalo. But the way this Bengals season has went and the numbers that Joe Burrows is doing, you cannot sit here and tell me that he is now single-handedly carrying that organization on his back based on what they've given him, what they had to endure, and what he has to endure from an offensive line perspective, from the lack of defense, and the fact that he makes big plays time after time and after time again. Give me Joe Burrow MVP.
Cuzzo, the mic is yours.
Whoa. Okay. No, he's not MVP. He shouldn't even be in the discussion. And this is, I get it. I heard all the numbers. Sounds good. Sounds cute. No, give me a big win that he had this year. Did he beat Baltimore once? Did he beat Pittsburgh? What good team did he beat? Just beat Denver. That's one playoff team. He beat bums. He put up good numbers versus bums. Okay, we got to be clear about that. We got to be careful when we're talking MVP. We can say Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback, and he's throwing the ball well. But let's be clear about what we're saying. He have to have staple wins. He don't have that. Josh Allen got that. Lamar Jackson got that. They got staple wins, bro. They beating good teams. They beating playoff teams. They beating division-leading teams. Oh, my bad. They leading their division, right? So they got to have that. MVP comes with all of that, okay? Because we can go to, and if we want to dissect Joe Burrow, and I love Joe Burrow, but we want to dissect him. He also made a lot of bad plays and crucial moments that got them some losses, if we forgot about that. Some timely interceptions, some timely fumbles. Go look that up. So at the end of the day, before we say this dude is that dude for MVP for this year, he's not. He's that dude that's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Ain't no question about that. But MVP of the season? Absolutely not. What Josh Allen is right now is doing in Buffalo, I got Josh Allen over him. What Lamar Jackson is doing right now in Baltimore, I got Lamar Jackson over him. And I'll take Saquon over him, what Saquon is doing with Philly. Okay, so no disrespect to Joe Burrow. I don't have him up there like that because he don't even have a signature win, right? He beat Cleveland. He beat the Giants. Okay, what that means something to me? That don't mean nothing to me. What big quarterback he knocked out? Name the big quarterback that he went head-to-head with and said, I handled my business with this dude. Who's that guy? He ain't do it. He played Kansas City. He played Lamar Jackson twice. He had his opportunities. He wound up losing. He played Philly this year. Didn't play well. So at the end of the day, what are we really talking about, though? Right? He played Washington. He lost. What are we doing? He didn't beat nobody. He beat Dallas with a backup quarterback. What are we doing with that? That's an MVP? And I'm staring down other dudes around the league and watching them put up great performances against primetime defenses and primetime players. He's not even in the discussion. This is not a knock on Joe Burrow, though. He's a great quarterback. I actually like Joe Burrow. But we got to be careful when we speak MVP. Today, in today's world of sports, we like to give our accolades way too fast. You know what I mean? And we got to slow down. Be easy. Okay? You can have a great season. I can name a lot of great individual seasons where people didn't get MVPs in multiple sports. He's having a great season. He's not the MVP. He's not even in the discussion. The fact that that's on television all day, the fact that I hear that every time I turn around, Joe Burrow for MVP, it's an embarrassment. It's embarrassing to the players that's out there that's putting their teams in winning positions and coming back and having to deal with adversity, injuries, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll take Jared Goff over this cat right now. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying as a player for MVP. For MVP, it's too many players over him. So at the end of the day, no disrespect to Joe Burrow, he's not even in the discussion. Not even close.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit with Cuzzo. As far as being in the conversation, I think if they make the playoffs, right? I think his MVP case is contingent on the Bengals making the playoffs, right? If they get the help they need, if obviously they win against Pittsburgh, then I think
they need help to get in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, they need help. Yeah, they need help.
Okay.
Obviously,
That's
they need help. Yeah, Joe Burrow needed help all year too. You know, with special teams, a lot of missed field goals that cost them a couple victories. A decimated defense. Lou Amarumo was supposed to be the guy that but clearly we don't know who he is anymore. You know, clearly that side of the ball has been lackluster. At least the Ravens, because I know kind of intuitive. Oh, the Ravens defense. Well, they got it together the last couple of weeks, right? Joe Burrow, I mean, you look at the numbers, man. 69.8 of his passes he has completed for 4,641 yards, 42 touchdowns this season. He leads the NFL in completions, passing yards, passing touchdowns. I mean, I don't really think you can have a better season than he's having. It's clearly his best year.
The numbers are spectacular. I agree with that.
And look, this is the case. Look, I think you can make it a case for all three guys here: Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Clearly, I'm not going to give it to a running back. I'm sorry. The position of quarterback is too valuable for me to give it to a running back. I just can't do it. However, I would go Saquon number 4 or 5, right? I cannot underestimate the value of the quarterback position. When your quarterback is not there, it affects your team. Quarterback is too important not to be the guys that we are debating amongst each other, right? Obviously, for Josh Allen, his case is that this was supposed to be a rebuilding year for Buffalo. Okay. Absolutely. And clearly it's the opposite. It might be their best team because of him and how he's playing, obviously. So that's his argument. I think for Lamar Jackson, it's the numbers. Obviously, he has better numbers than Josh Allen. And you could argue it's right up there with Joe Burrow. For Joe Burrow, it's the eye test too. It's not only the stats, it's with the two eyes that we have as human beings who look like the best quarterback in the game right now. To me, the best quarterback in the game. Let's be clear here. The best quarterback in the game to me is Joe Burrow. He's playing like it. Okay, he's not. I get it. Real quickly, because he's not Lamar Jackson athletic, clearly, right? So he has that going against him. He doesn't have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes' arm. I get it. But the fact that he's able to manipulate the pocket the way he does, there's nobody better in the pocket. And he still has a little bit of mobility to get himself out of harm's way. One more point before I pass over the mic to you, cousin.
Yeah.
Because me personally, beyond MVP, I just hope that the Bengals are able to bring back T. Higgins. Okay. Because when you talk about having that trio, Absolutely. And having that 2 wide receivers, man, it dictates coverage, because you cannot. It makes Burrow's pre-snap reads a little bit easier, obviously. It allows him to get the ball out quicker when you have those two guys. And clearly, when you look at the Chargers game, those two guys dominated the second half of that game. But that's why Josh Allen is my MVP, because he doesn't have those two weapons that Joe Burrow has. He doesn't have Derrick Henry. And I'm the type of guy, I look at MVP, you have to be the most valuable player clearly on your team. And Joe Burrow playing great. He's in the discussion to me, but you still have Jamar Chase. You still have T. Higgins. Even though Joe Burrow is still the best player on the team, you still have those
He
weapons.
got players.
Josh Allen clearly
Ain't got no
is
players.
carrying the team. I like the fact that he does more with less, and that's how I judge MVP.
Right. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? So when we speak MVP, we water down things, and this is just today in sports. Like a lot of things get watered down. We so rush to give people all of these accolades and give people all these praises. You know, we go to the history of any sport. We got to be easy with that. When the minute you start doing that, it becomes problematic. And I spoke about this with y'all before. Be easy, fall back. He's having a good season. I'm not knocking him. MVP, you have to win. There was times where he could have won the game. Okay, the play wasn't made, and it was by him. Okay, we have to look at that. Listen, 17 games. That's it. 17. There was plays missed that he missed, and reasoning that why they possibly didn't win. Now, as far as what he got at his disposal, T. Higgins and Chase. Oh my goodness gracious! You get Josh Allen at what are we talking about? His numbers will be through the roof. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like we got to be easy. He can't be nowhere near the MVP. He don't even have a staple win. So you would say that eye test. I'm like, so give me. I'm with you. I want that eye test. I don't want to see an eye test versus Cleveland though. I don't want to see the eye test versus the Giants either. Give me the eye test versus quality win teams. Like, yo, beat that team. Josh Allen, he beat Kansas City. Lamar Jackson, he beat Buffalo. Okay, I want to see that. When I'm my MVP, I need to see him knock off Titans too. I can't see him knock off bums. If you're knocking off bums all day, how the heck I'm gonna call you that dude? Knock off some Titans, and then I can say you really that dude. I seen those other two dudes do that. Knock him off. He ain't doing that. So I don't even know why he's even in the discussion. There is no discussion for MVP. I got too many people over him. He won't even make my top 10. There's people out here winning and grinding, making winning plays, not just plays. He's making a lot of plays. They're not winning plays, though, because they're not winning the game. I need winning plays. That's going to lead to a W. He's 8-8. That's a mediocre. How the heck I'm going to give an MVP to a mediocre team? He's mediocre.
Look, I think
so now
we talk about MVP.
So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do now? So next year, somebody makes the playoffs and they 7-9. They could under 500. You could be MVP. When do it stop? We gotta have a standard, and the standard is the top of the list. Gotta be the top of the list. This is MVP we talking about. We ain't talking about some just casual award. MVP, and he's mediocre. Nah.
What is MVP? What is MVP? Okay, can somebody here define what MVP is? Cuzzo, since you hard on the take, what is MVP?
The MVP of the league.
Just a definition.
Right. I mean, well, it's the most valuable player.
Exactly.
Right? But it's the most valuable player in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
You're the most valuable player in the league, and you're mediocre as a team.
No, the team is mediocre.
Yeah,
but football is a team-reliant sport. The most team-reliant sport, probably other than soccer.
Clear.
Okay.
Clear. But
now,
so we're gonna go. Listen, we go there. If we start going to that road, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's fine. But at the end of the day,
I think in everything you do, in life, there is an aberration. There is something unorthodox. For example, Serena and Venus, for an example, right? Obviously, that sport is dominated by, foreign people and Caucasian people, but there was an exception, right? These two talented sisters from Compton, okay, that practiced hard, worked hard, stayed later than everybody else, was the first one to get there. Their dad was tough on them. They was the exception to the rule, okay? Sometimes you're in a neighborhood where you're not meant to be successful, but you have that grind, ambition, you get a little luck, and there's a exception to the rule, right? I think there's an exception to everything. I think I agree with the point. There should be a base when you talk about MVP that you follow, but there's always going to be an exception in everything, okay? Because not everything falls in line. Sometimes, people's circumstances are different. There's an exception. Maybe I hire somebody that may not have the full experience, but they're bringing something else. There's an exception. To me, we have to make those accommodations for Joe Burrow.
Now, guess what, though? You saying everything right, but he ain't doing what you're saying. See, if Joe Burrow was doing something super exceptional that I never seen before, then we could be talking. He's going for 6,000 yards. He do 60 touchdowns.
The guy is
my God,
leading all categories right now.
Now we're gonna have to
they won like 4 straight games in a row. They win 5 straight games in a row and get in. That's marvelous.
but he's
They
not doing
started.
something.
They started 0-3, I believe, right? Didn't they start 0-3?
Oh, and two. Okay. But this is what I'm saying. What is he doing that makes him exception to the rule?
The reason he's an exception to the rule is because you have a cheap organization.
No.
No. You have a cheap organization. You didn't pay guys. You didn't take care of the defensive side of the ball. Your main priority was filling the gaps. You didn't even retain Joe Mixon. Look what Joe Mixon was doing in Houston. Okay, you allowed the cheapness to get in the way of putting together a championship. You look at the Eagles. They paid everybody. That's why they're winning. They paid everybody. They took care of Hurts. They took care of Brown. They took care of Devonta. They took care of the linemen. All right, that's why they winning. You look at the Lions. They took care of Goff. They took care of Amon-Ra. They took care of Penny Sue, the lineman. You got to take care of your guys if you want to win a championship. And because the Bengals did not take care of their guys, that's why there was a distraction this year. Jamar Chase wanted his money. You didn't pay that man. Why the hell you not paying Jamar Chase, my guy? Okay, he won his bag. Pay him his bag. That's a distraction. T. Higgins. Oh, we're not gonna pay him. He's gonna walk there his last ride. Distraction. Unnecessary distractions and a defense that has been decimated. That's the exception to the rule. That's why Joe Burrow has to pick up the slack every single game.
That's not an exception to the rule because Josh Allen could say the same thing. Josh Allen could say the exact same thing. They didn't pay his people.
Well, guess what? His defense. Well, that's where coaching comes into play.
Right.
Well, McDermott has the defensive side of the ball playing well.
Here's the thing. If we start allowing...
And clear, Josh Allen is my MVP. All right? I'm not debating Josh Allen. He's my MVP.
But if we start pitting mediocre into mix of the MVP, because see, to me, if you want an exception to the rule, I need to see something I've never seen before. I ain't see that. But when you talked about Serena and Venus, that was something I've never seen before. That's an exception to the rule. I never seen it. Bam. Makes sense to me. When is Joe Burrow going to do something I've never seen? Then I can say, yo, wait a second. You got a point. I've never seen nobody do it before. He ain't doing that. Lamar Jackson numbers is just as good as his. He ain't doing that. Lamar Jackson got wins. That's what we talking about. He beating bums. Give me his staple win. Y'all ain't give me that yet. Give me his biggest win. What is his biggest win this year?
His biggest win will be getting the Bengals to the playoffs.
Nothing.
Okay.
There's no wins here.
It's a story. That's what it is, Freddie. It's the storyline. That's what the MVP. You know more than anything. MVP. It is numbers based, but that storyline plays a huge factor into it. Joe Burrow gets the Bengals into the playoffs after this season, where they're talking about their head coach being fired, the defense not getting nobody. Jamar Chase wants his money every week in every interview. I want to get paid. This, that, third. T. Higgins out of. The storyline matches up with Joe Burrow putting on his cape and saving the day, right? And taking off. So the story with the Buffalo Bills, despite Josh Allen playing amazing, is Sean McDermott coaching his ass off to get the Bills defense playing good. Lamar Jackson's whole thing is that defense is so great that Lamar Jackson just has to be him, and he does this. But the whole Joe Burrow thing is that he had to beat Superman.
But think about this, though. He's not in the playoffs. He needs help to get into the playoffs, and we arguing this dude for MVP status? What?
If they make playoffs, not right now. If they make playoffs,
he's not even in control of his own destiny. He needs people to lose to make the playoffs, and him still winning.
Yeah.
Look,
what?
There's a reason why. There's a reason why. Okay. There's a reason why. Okay. There's a reason why. All right. There's a reason why. Joe Burrow does not want to be seen in the playoffs by the Chiefs and by the Bills. I don't know if you've seen the reports. I don't know how accurate it is, but they're talking about resting their starters. And I get it. They clinched the number 1 seed, right? While with injury, but they talking about putting practice field people. You know, they're not even starting Carson Wentz. Okay. They fear the Chiefs here. They fear the Bengals. Yep. And you think for 1 second, the Bills don't fear the Bengals when the Bengals went into Buffalo backyard a couple years ago and sent them home? There's a reason why. Don't let Joe Burrow get in because he's going to win. That's why. I don't know if you remember, I think we lost Cuzzo here. I don't know if you remember, Zay, not a couple years ago, but there's this story when you had all these rappers that was battling each other. I think it was Big Pun in there. I think it was a couple people. It was Big Pun. No. Big Pun wasn't in there. It was Nas. It was a couple other people, rappers in one building, and they were rapping amongst each other. And they said, you know what? Do not allow Big Pun in here. He will eat us up. Okay, this guy got too much bars. All right, let's lock Big Pun out of here. That's what I feel like when we talking about Joe Burrow right now. Don't allow Joe Burrow to get into the dance, okay? Because clearly he's going to mess up our plans. All right, Zay, the mic is yours. In closing,
I think it's just to close out, right? I understand what Freddie was saying. You gotta be historic, dude. You gotta be historical to make historical moves to win awards in this nature, right? And what has Joe Burrow done this season to be historical? He hasn't done anything historical. What he's doing is remarkable. It's an amazing sight to see, but he's right. It isn't historical, and that's why his MVP case isn't as bright as I'm making it seem. I'm playing that storyline where the Bengals really had no hopes of making the playoffs early in the season. Everything looked bleak, and it really took Joe Burrow week after week getting these crazy astronomical numbers in order to win a championship.
we got Cuzzo back in
Yo,
here.
my bad, bro.
No, you good. You
My
good.
joint, my
Cuzzo,
joint didn't charge.
my guy got a question for you,
What's up?
Kenny. So let's he said, did Nash deserve MVP over Kobe in 06?
Of course not. But here's the problem. Here's the thing. That's a great question, Kenny. Of course he didn't, right? He didn't deserve the MVP over Kobe because he had all of those wins and Kobe was playing with a lower team. But just to be fair and clear, Kenny, Kobe team was way over 500. They won 40. I want to say they won 46 games that year. So they was definitely over 500, about 10 games over 500, if I'm not mistaken. And we knew he was going to the playoffs. So this is not Kobe Bryant team. And I don't know if you remember the team the year before that, the Kobe Bryant team that did not make the playoffs. It's no way I'm giving him an MVP. And he was averaging 32 points a game. I'm not giving Kobe the MVP. But the year when Kobe was averaging 35 points a game, and I think they won 46 or 45 games that year, yeah, he was in the playoffs. I think they was the number 7 seed. I was comfortable if Kobe would have won MVP. So no, I didn't think Nash deserved it. But just to be clear, it wasn't just Kobe. It was also LeBron James could have won MVP that year, if I'm not mistaken. And it was somebody else that I had. I think of maybe even Shaq on Miami. Yeah. So they just gave it to Nash because he had the best record. So I agree with that. But we cannot go below mediocre. This dude is 500. Joe Burrow's 8-8 and need help to get into the playoffs. He's not even 500. He don't even have a staple win. What are we talking about? He didn't beat nobody that made me say, yo, that dude did it. What? You beat the Giants. You know what I mean? You beat Dallas with Cooper Rush. Okay. You beat the Browns. Okay. That don't mean nothing to me. That don't mean that you're an MVP. You're beating less than mediocre teams. You're beating garbage teams.
I mean, look, and this is my last point. I don't think it's just based off the highest seed. I know some people look at MVP that way.
Right.
Based off seeding. I don't really think that is. I think Tom Brady should have got that MVP over Aaron Rodgers a couple years ago. But the Packers, I guess Rodgers got it because the Packers was a higher seed. I think it was a difference between one seed. One was a number 1 seed. Tom Brady's Buccaneers was a 2 seed. I don't really look at it like that. I think in the NBA, for example, I think the year that CP3 went to OKC and he got them to the 6th seed, I believe it was, I thought he was the MVP, because I'm looking at the value that he brought to that young squad, right? So I don't really go up seeding. I just think whoever from the eyes, who you think is the guy that brings the value to the team. And yeah, sure, the stats obviously, is implicated in that and all that in the eye test firmly. I think that's the MVP to me, and if you were subtracted, this team would not be this good, So yeah, that's how I would look at it. But anybody got any last words before we move on to halftime?
Real quick, last question, I think.
I see him hello? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can see you
good. My last question is this: who is your number 1 and number 2 for MVP this year for that NFL?
Man.
I'm going Joe Burrow I'm going Josh Allen number 1.
I don't think they hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Cuzzo. I think he's having technical issues right now. We're going to allow Cuzzo to get situated. I'm going Josh Allen number 1, and number 2, I'm going to go Lamar Jackson. And then Joe Burrow will be my number 3. Zay, what about you? Where are we going?
I'm going Lamar 1, Allen 2, Joe 3.
Okay. You said Lamar number 1 or Josh?
Lamar.
Why you think Lamar, real quickly here, why you think Lamar is number 1? Let me hear that.
His advanced metrics are ridiculous. Every pass category he has above Allen, and I believe Burrows as well. And he's just been doing a phenomenal job as a passer this year. Something that I was waiting to see his entire career, and now we finally get to see it. So I think for me, I'm putting Lamar over Josh Allen in that regard.
The one thing that I don't like about this Lamar Jackson argument, it just really depends on how you arguing it, right? Because from the eye test, he's right up there with Josh Allen. Could go either way. For the numbers, could go either way, and you can make an argument for Lamar. But I hate when people take this one route to argue it, which is he's having his best year, right? Because to me, that's not an argument because it's not about you having the best year. It's about what the league is doing around you.
Yeah.
Because Josh Allen is having his best year too. So just because
phenomenal year.
he's having his best year. You know, Josh Allen as well. So just because you won 2 MVPs before, and this year is better than your 2 MVP years, I'm supposed to give you the award. No, Josh Allen's having his best year. Joe Burrow is having his best year. So that's the argument that I'm trying to bring up to Cuzzo is that okay, yeah, I get it. The wins are not there. They're trying to get help to get in the playoffs. The Bengals here, but it's his best year.
Yep.
Okay. Now I'm not sure where Cuzzo had Joe Burrow. I wish his thing was working because I'm really bringing the heat now. I'm not sure where he had Joe Burrow in the MVP conversations before this year.
Yep.
Obviously, the years that he was healthy. Obviously, that's one thing, right? His health. But if you had him in the top 3, matter of fact, Cuzzo, you on?
Yeah, I'm up. All
right, hold on. Let's see if we get Cuzzo. All right, bet. Yo, Cuzzo, where did you have Joe Burrow in MVP conversations before, like in previous years? Was he top 3, top 5?
Yeah, he was in there.
He was like top 3, you would say, top 4?
Yeah, top 3, top 5, definitely.
Okay, and last year, remember when so let's keep that in mind. But last year, right? Remember when they started off 0-2, right? And then they had this stretch where they reversed it. I think it was 0-3 last year. I might be wrong. I think it was 0-3. And they reversed it last year, and they was on a streak, and he was playing some of the best football in the NFL before he got hurt with the wrist injury.
Yep.
Did you think that he was making an MVP consideration case then when he was on that streak?
Yeah.
Okay, right? Yeah, I'm glad that you feel that way. So top 4 in the discussion before last year, before he got hurt, he was building his case. This year is his best season.
I know
it's better than last year. It's better than the years that you had him in the top 4. It's his best overall season.
I know that, cousin, but last year he was beating good teams. See, you cannot just beat these mediocre teams. Bro, he have opportunity to play. He played against Lamar Jackson twice. Patrick Mahomes, he played against the Eagles. Yo, dude, you got to win one of those games, bro. You have to. You can't be beating up bums. You told me that. Oh, the Eagles just beat bums. We ain't giving them nothing. What are we talking about?
I mean, that's for the eye test when it comes to legitimacy and contention.
You got to beat some good teams. You just can't go out and beat bum teams. You can't just live stomping out on the Giants. He should have beat Washington. That would have been a good win for him. A good Washington win would have been good. He ain't beat these teams, bro. He didn't beat them. So
right.
I can't be looking
at the record. You know, that's Cuzzo's argument. You know, clearly there's a lot of variations to me when it comes to MVP, and you know, we could pick and choose where we want to go in regards to that.
But think about it, cousin. Right. So if he don't make the playoffs, right, you can't have him in your top 5 at MVP, can you? He don't make the playoffs. You got top 5.
That's why I said in the beginning of my take, his MVP case is contingent on him getting into the playoffs. Because I do agree to the extent winning has to matter. You cannot win an MVP without making the playoffs. That's why I put the contingency plan in there.
I respect that. So winning does matter. So
absolutely.
Again, this is a 500 football team. Okay. And we got a lot of other players out here that's picking up MVP like numbers with winning. We got to break the tie somewhere. Winning counts. That's all I'm saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to halftime here. We still got more. So you may want to keep it locked here. And people on TikTok, make sure you follow me right now because we're about to sign off on TikTok and keep it going on YouTube. Real Leel TV without the underscores on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me. And those of y'all watching right now, make sure y'all keep it locked. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. This is 99 Pod.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.